What is good, my people, my peeps? Grand Rising, Grand Rising. How are you all doing this morning? So, I am here to give you part two of I Seen Another Demon. That's right, part two. I know last night I had scheduled for me to do a broadcast regarding the Latinos are mad. Yes, Bobby. The Latinos are mad about the Sinners movie, and I will be giving you that broadcast today. I said it for 11, but hey, when a sister is busy and then call herself going to try to take a short nap, well, that nap turned into the next day. Okay? So, anyway, y'all give me a little grace on that. You will get that broadcast probably shortly after this one. But I wanted to really come back with you all on this. I seen a demon, another demon, part two, because I have an example of the eyes. Okay. So I went back and I watched that broadcast, part one. And I was like, wow, the broadcast really was kind of horrible because I was driving and you cannot control the Wi-Fi and so on and so forth. So some of it was choppy. So you really couldn't hear the story. So I'm going to recap that story from part one really quick before I show you the example of the eyes regarding the demon that I saw this week. So without interruptions, here we go. I was supposed to be going to see the movie Sinners, right? And I had talked to you all and told you all I really want to go see it because I want to decode it. I'm blessed in decoding these movies on a spiritual plane. Okay, so I wanted to go get the deeper meaning what Hollywood is really trying to say to you all, because what is up is down, what is down is up for Hollywood. Sometimes the things that they show you mean something totally different, or they're hitting a nail on the head. So I wanted to go see Sinners. And I went to work. I asked a couple of ladies. One of them was like, "Yeah, we'll go." So she went. She looked it up. The It was booked. It was packed. We couldn't get the seating that we would want it to get because it was packed. And so they only had those front row seats like right up by the screen. So I was like, "No, I'm good." And she was like, "Well, there's another." Um, showing, but it's later that night. And I already drive in, and I was like, because she lives where our facility is. I drive into, you know, where we work. And so I was like, no, because then I'll be driving back home late at night. So I'm good. So I passed on going to see the movie that night. But however, that same day, I said, well, let me go and get some things, do some stops and pick up some things that I need. And so I decided, I'm going to go and I like aromatherapy, incense, candles, air freshener. I like all of that, depending on, it can set the mood and all, aromatherapy, you get it. And so I said, well, I'm going to go to this shop. They sell health foods, snacks and waters, alkaline waters and incense, and just a variety of things. Have you ever heard of a store called Earthbound? It's something like that, but on a mom and pop's level. Okay, so I went to this store. Now I had gone there before, and on this day I go in, and there's a young guy there, and I noticed him because I had noticed him before. And so I'm going to pause right there so I can take you backwards in time, okay? To when I first noticed this young guy that was in the store the day I went in this week. So we're going back. So just pause for the cause right now. I went into that same store about a few weeks ago, and that young guy was there. So, but he was down at the cash register, and I got my products and I went to check out. Now, when I went to check out, I'm going to tell you guys, if you follow my story, you already know, but I always have to recap because these videos are new to people who come through my platform. I have been gifted with spiritual sight in the spiritual realm. I can see the entities in people through their eyes. So I can see the reptilian splits. I can see the all black eyes that some of them have. And then there's another eye. It's very hard for me to describe. Hello, hello, welcome in. There's another eye that it's hard for me to describe. Um, but I mentioned that several times before and years ago. Okay, so that is documented in my archives of videos. But this I had not seen before. Okay, um, and it's a gray eye, like almost solid gray um, eye, not the whole eye, but where the color of the eye would be. Okay, the iris, and so it's no pupil. Okay, that's the trippy thing. It was no piece, just like a solid gray. And I tried to explain it to my audience and to you all, to my followers, that that day when I first encountered this individual, he was at the counter. So I put my stuff down, but they never look me or want to look me in my eye. Okay. Um, and so I was like, wow. I got to the counter and this guy's kind of looking down. But then in an instinct, he looks up, right? For a second, a hot second, and I see his eyes, and they are this solid gray, almost as if it looked like he may have had, like in an old person, what they call cataracts. That's what it looked like, right? And but then he instantly put his head back down. So I really couldn't get a good glimpse, but I got enough of a glimpse to see that these eyes were different. And so anyway, I just paid for my stuff and I left. That is the first time I encountered the young man. Okay. And so back to this week. Okay. Um, I go into the store, and let me just put this up here. If you want to support the channel, go ahead. I'm going to put my Cash App up here, so that way if you feel like you want to support this channel, I would appreciate it. And much love to all who support. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Corey Bennett for supporting the Cash App for the GoFundMe. So now, back to the story. I go in this week after, the cancellation of us not being able to go see the Sinners movie, a coworker and I and her son. And so I go in the store. This same guy is at the front of the store, but he's behind the cash register, right? And he looks up, but he quickly looks down and he was like, hi. And I was like, hi, but I didn't really pay attention to him. I just was like, oh, yeah, small talking here as I'm walking. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get some incense, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, oh, okay, blah, blah, blah. And I get my incense and I just grab a couple and I go to the counter. Now he's down. It's like a L, kind of like an L shape, to where the counter is like an L shape. So he was behind the counter the whole time, but now he's down at the far end of the counter where the cash register is. So I proceed to walk down there to check out. And he's counting the incense and he says, oh, you need such and such and you can get a deal, because if you get so many, you get a deal. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't really think about it because I had incense at home. So I was like, okay. So I said, let me go get some more. I turn around and I go to walk to get the incense, some more incense. And I I turn around quick. I didn't have a thought to ask him a question or anything, guys. I literally just turned around. When I turned around, and it was quick, it was fast, this man was right behind me. Okay. I don't even know how he got from over that counter that fast to be. When I say he was right behind me, he was right behind me. And it shocked him how fast I turned around. And when I turned around and he's right behind me, he's holding the incense in his hand that I had just took to the counter, and he's in shock. But he's behind me and he's holding the incense and he says, oh, I don't even know why I have your incense in my hand. And I look at him and his eyes are this gray, solid gray color, right? And he had no opportunity to look down, to look away. I locked in on him and I saw his eyes, this gray color, like glowy gray, guys. Okay, like they were glowing. Okay, so like I explained in the card the other day, and why I'm recapping because it was choppy, uh, the audio and video, guys. I just turned around. I had no fear because I told you I battled with these demonic entities. What's good, young Riz, aka Drip King? What is good? Um, so I have no fear of these entities, none at all. Okay, and so I turned around, and he went back to the counter, and I got the rest of my incense, and I left, and I said, I wanted to tell that story because I don't normally tell all of every single encounter I have with the spiritual realm because I think I've told you all enough. But when something happens so very odd like that, like the speed in which I turned around and he was right behind me, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. It felt like a superpower. Okay. I know y'all like, okay, Etheria. Now you're putting something on it. You're putting a little much on it. I'm not putting nothing on it. I didn't even have a reason to turn around and ask this man anything. Um, it was as if the Most High swooped me around, okay, with the fastness, okay, and so, and he moved with the quickness. Do you hear me? From behind that counter, I don't know how he moved and was behind me that quick, but we met up at the same time. I turned around and he moved just as quick, and it shocked him because I could tell. I could tell it shocked him that I turned around so quick. And I know people might think, well, maybe he was going to try to harm you, or yeah, spiritually, he was going to try to attack me. That's all I can say, because if you all could have witnessed the speed in which I turned around and him right behind me, it literally shocked him. And I don't even know if he knew what he was operating in, as far as him being operating in a demonic spirit for him to move that fast. Okay. And me shocking him that I moved with this most high spirit and turned around and caught his behind. And he had nothing else to say but, I don't know why I have your incense in my hand. That's all he could say. And I just looked at him. I had no words for him. And he turned around and walked back to the counter. I walked and got the rest of the incense, and I proceeded to check out and leave. And another thing I want to add on top of that, I believe he perceived no fear in me. You understand? He perceived no fear in me, which caught him off guard. Now, this morning as I woke up, I was actually working on the video that I wanted to stream last night regarding the Sinners movie and how the Latino community are upset. So I was getting ready to prepare that stream for you all. So I went on and I went on to TikTok because there's some videos that I'm going to share with you all regarding that stream. But the Most High is talking to us through everything. That's why I said yesterday I was going to pray before I go see the Sinners movie to even see if I should see that movie, because I don't want to be triggering nothing spiritual in my world. Because when you open doors, it's not just opening doors because you're sinning. You can open doors in your life by watching things that you don't need to watch, by listening to things you don't need to listen to, music, um, movies. There's different things. There's different ways to open doors to the spiritual realm and giving it permission to operate in your life. Okay? So, as I was preparing for you all for that Sinners uh, broadcast regarding the Latinas, this popped up. So we're going to see this example real quick, okay? So I said, oh my gosh, this is exactly how this man's eyes glowed gray in color, but like a solid gray, not the whole eye, the uh, not the pupil. What is it called? I just said it. But the color of the eye. Okay. So let me get this queued up real quick. And I'm going to show you in this. I don't know if this is a movie or whatever it is. The Most High sent it through my pathway this morning, early this morning. Okay. And it's talking about vampires. And I'm like, okay. I wasn't even looking for this, but it's here. And so I want to show you, this is the example. I have it froze right now because I want you to see this man's eyes. In this one, his eyes are a different color, like brown, but then they go to this grayish color and glowing gray color. And that's another thing before I show you this clip I want to touch base on, because I do know that in our time, 2025, that we're living in this day and time, that they do have contacts that replicate the splits, the black eyes. Some people even get their eyes tattooed that color, color. They can blacken out their whole eye. I know all of that exists, but none of that is what I'm talking about when I bear witness to the color, the changing of the eye, because it happens so very fast that if you're not spiritually blessed to see that, you'll miss it. Okay? If you are, it's not something that they're putting a contact in. They don't have time to do this in the spiritual realm. This is a spiritual gift. Okay? So the eye shifting and changing, it shifts and changes right before your eyes or before mine, because that's part of my spiritual gift. Okay? And you'll see an example of that right now. So what I'm going to do is turn this around, the video, put it on screen. So this man right here, you can see, he has the example of the great eyes that this man I encountered this week has. But I'm going to play the video from the beginning, and I want to see if you can catch. I showed you that his eyes were gray, but I'm going to play this from the beginning, and y'all peep game, okay? Let me turn this up.
And my eyes, they still glow. And also, my teeth can still do that. And my eyes, they still glow. And also, check this out. My brother can do it too. What about my parents? Well, of course they can do it. Dad! Dad? A suit? Hey, I thought I looked good. Just show them. Eyes? No. Oh, these. Told you. My teeth.
So pause for the cause, because I'm gonna play this another again, again, okay? So I wanted to see if you all peeped how fast. Now, I don't know. Let me see. Let me read the bottom. This is a clip from LED Fame Pulse Prisma. Okay, so this came down my timeline, and I wanted to show you because it gives an example of what I experienced, my real life experience with how fast that man moved this week. That was behind me, okay? That came up behind me. But just as fast as he moved is as fast as I had turned around, which shocked him. Okay. And it didn't, it even shocked me. What shocked me is going back thinking about me confronting him as fast as he thought he was about to pounce. Okay. And I want you all to peep game on how the dad in this clip, his eyes are brown and then they turn gray. Okay. Their eyes shift. Like you've heard many times, shape shifters, their eyes can shift. Okay. So, and the brother comes in really fast, but I want you to see how fast the dad moves. It's almost super sonic fast. Okay. So if you will, let's go.
Do that, and my eyes, they still glow. And also, check this out. My brother can do it too. About my parents.
Now here we
Of course
go.
they can
Pay
do
attention
it.
to his dad's eyes and how fast, because you see how fast he moves? Okay.
Yeah, don't I look good?
Look at his
Just show it.
eyes.
Eyes? No. Oh, please. Told you.
I'm not worried about the fangs, but I am talking about, this is the example I want you all to see. Hold on.
Let's do that.
Let me see if I can freeze it on.
No.
Okay. And you see how they go back to brown, but I want you to see the shift.
Oh, please. Told you.
Hold on. So you see right there, his eyes are brown, but hold on.
Eyes?
Right there.
No.
Baby, right there. That is the example I want you all to see. That is what I witnessed earlier this week. But his eyes, the eyes I witnessed were more solid gray with no pupil, and they glowed gray. Okay, that is the demonic entity I witnessed this week. This is a new one that I hadn't witnessed before. But it's the same as this guy's eyes here in this video that I'm presenting to you all. This is just part 2. I wanted to give you an example because the example came to me this morning as I woke up. And y'all take it easy and stay tuned for the next broadcast. I will be broadcasting this sinners and the Latino community being upset about that movie and why they are upset about that movie. Stay tuned, keep it locked in so that you can catch that broadcast. And also, if you want to support this channel, you can also support this channel at Cash App. $247 the Queen. Once again, you can support this channel at Cash App $247 the Queen, and that is a capital T and a capital Q. And I will see you again shortly, and much, much love.